During the reign of Bloody Mary I, over 280 Protestants were burned at the stake in brutal and barbaric fashion. Crowds would flock to see executions, but the sight and smell of people burning alive was something that stuck in the crowd's memory, and it was a horrific way to die. Mary I suffered greatly throughout her life with her health, and also with a failed pregnancy. She wanted greatly to be a mother, and she wanted an heir to continue her restoration of Catholicism across England. But she never had a child, and with this she believed God was punishing her for not persecuting heretics strongly enough. With this she violently sought heretics and had them executed in barbaric ways, and many Protestants left the country. But inside of Canterbury in Kent, a city known for its cathedral, huge-scale burnings took place over a number of years. Despite Mary being on the throne only 5 years, Canterbury had its fair share of burnings. Join us today as we look at the executions of the Canterbury Martyrs, and remember to support our channel. Please make sure to subscribe. As Mary I changed religion in England back to Catholicism, she went after leading Protestant figures to punish and persuade the people of the nation to return back to their former faith. But inside of Canterbury, many martyrs were made in the city. In 1555, many executions occurred. On the 12th of July, John Bland, the rector of Adesham, along with John Frankish, a local vicar, and Nicholas Shetterden and Humphrey Middleton, they were all taken into the city and were then burned together on one huge fire. It was said that they resigned themselves with Christian fortitude, fervently praying that God would receive them into his heavenly kingdom. They were all burned at the stake, but then on the 23rd of August more burnings came. William Coker, William Hopper, Richard Collier, Henry Lawrence, Richard Wright, and William Stair were all burned too at the stake for being heretics. It was said of their executions, and thus these 6 heavenly martyrs and witness bearers to the truth, being condemned by the bloody suffragan, and the Archdeacon of Canterbury, Master Collins and Master Forsay, were all burned together in the same town of Canterbury, at 3 stakes and 1 fire, about the latter end of August. On the 6th of September 1555, George Painter, Robert Streeter, Anthony Borward, John Broadbridge, and James Tutty were all burned inside of the city, and on the 30th of November, John Webb, George Roper and Gregory Park were all executed. 1555 was a brutal year for the people of Canterbury, as in total 18 people were executed in the city by burning, which was very shocking. It's clear Mary believed she needed to deal with them stronger, but in 1556 more burnings occurred. On the 31st of January, John Lomas, Agnes Snoth, Anne Wright, Joan Soule and Joan Cathmar were all burned alive at the stake in Wincheap in Canterbury, at a place which is now called Martyrs Field Road. Each of them had been sentenced to death for denying the Catholic faith, and they were interrogated and stuck with their Protestant beliefs, and for this they faced the wrath of the Catholic judges. It was said during one of the women's interrogation that, likewise appearing before the judge and his colleagues, it was also objected concerning the same matter of confession, whereunto she answered in these words, saying, that she would not be confessed of a priest, and added moreover, speaking unto the priests, You priests, she said, are the children of perdition, and can do no good by your confession. And likewise speaking unto the truth in his assistants, she told them that they were subverters of Christ's truth. And as touching the sacrament of the altar, she said it was naughty and abominable idol, and so utterly denied the same sacrament. Thus persisting and persevering in her former sayings and answers, she was condemned the said 18th day of the same month, with the others above mentioned, with whom also she suffered quietly, and with great comfort for the right of Christ's religion. These 5 persons were burnt at 2 stakes and 1 fire together at Canterbury, as is before said, who, when the fire was flaming about their ears, did sing psalms, whereat the good knight Sir John Norton, being there present, wept bitterly at the sight thereof. The executions continued throughout 1557, as on the 15th of January 1557, Stephen Kemp, William Waterer, William Prouting, William Lewis, Thomas Hudson and William Hay were all executed in the same manner. In the following June, John Fishcock, Nicholas White, Nicholas Pardew, and Barbara were all burned at the stake further. It was said of the executions of 1557 that mention was made a little before of the persecution in Kent, wherefore we declared that 15 were in the castle of Canterbury, imprisoned and condemned for God's word. Of the which 15 moreover we showed and declared 5 to be famished until death within the said castle, and buried by the highway, about the beginning of November. The other 10 in the first month of the next year following, which was the year of our Lord 1557, were committed unto the fire, and there consumed to ashes by Thornton, called Bishop of Suffragan of Dover, otherwise called Dick of Dover, and by Nicholas Harpsfield, the Archdeacon of the said province. Of those 10 godly martyrs of Christ, 6 were burned at Canterbury, about the 15th of January, that is Kemp, Water of Prouting, Lowick, Hudson and Hay. Other 2, that is, Stevens and Philpot at Y, about the same month. Other 2, which were Final and Bradbridge, were burned together at Ashford, the 16th of the same. What the ordinary articles were, commonly objected to them of the Canterbury diocese, is before rehearsed, save only, that to some of these, as to them that follow after, as the time of their persecution did grow, so their articles withal did increase to the number of 22, containing such like matter as served to the maintenance of the Romish say. But in 1558 the final set of burnings in the Marian persecutions at Canterbury occurred, as on the 15th of November 1558, John Cornford, Christopher Brown, John Harts, Alice Snoff, and Catherine Knight were burned alive. These were considered the last martyrs of Canterbury, and regarding the execution of the women, it was said that these godly martyrs, in their prayers, which they made before their martyrdom, desired God that their blood might be the last that should be shed, and so it was. Amongst such young women as were burnt at Canterbury, it is recorded of a certain maid, and supposed to be Alice Snoff, here in the story mentioned, or else be Agnes Stoff above storied, for they were both burnt, that when she was brought to be executed, she being at the stake, called for her godfather and godmothers. The justice, hearing her, sent for them, but they did not come. Notwithstanding the justices willed the messenger to go again, and to show them that they should incur no danger thereof. Then they, hearing that, came to know their matter of they were sending for. When the maid saw them, she asked them what they had promised for her, and so she immediately rehearsed her faith and the commandments of God, and required of them, if there were any more that had been promised in her behalf, and they said no. Then said she, I die a Christian woman, bear witness of me. And so cruelly in the fire she was consumed, and gave joyfully her life up for God's testament of Christ's gospel, to the terror of the wicked and comfort of the godly, and also to the stopping of the slanderous mouths of such as falsely do quarrel against the faithful martyrs. In Canterbury dozens of executions took place in the name of religion during Mary I's reign. It was a time in which life was very dangerous for Protestants, and across the nation burnings occurred, and the crowds would be haunted by what they saw. These executions secured Mary's legacy as one of the most brutal monarchs in history, and as a queen who inherited her father Henry VIII's bloody side. Thanks for watching. To support our channel, please make sure to subscribe, and once again, thank you so much for watching.